Professor Cindy Buys. I'm a professor of law and the director of international law programs here at Southern Illinois University School of Law. And I have with me today Siiri Raniero, one of our third-year law students. And we're going to talk to you a little bit about human trafficking and a project that we've worked on, because this month is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. But before I do that, I'm going to let Siiri introduce herself a little bit more.
Hi, my name is Siiri Raniero. I am a third-year law student, and this is my last semester. I'm super excited to graduate from SIU Law School, and I invite you to come visit us.
And I should mention that Siiri's been my research assistant for the last couple of years, so she's worked on a number of projects with me involving international and immigration law topics. But the one we were going to focus on today is human trafficking, a subject that's been in the news a lot. I am a member of the Illinois Human Trafficking Task Force, which is a statewide agency or nonprofit organization, really, that has as its members not only academics like myself, but law enforcement people, both at the state level and the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other federal officials, prosecutors, people who work for nonprofit organizations that provide support services to victims and survivors of human trafficking, a variety of different people. And last summer, they were looking for some research to be done to find out what the best practices were for human trafficking. The idea was that we would look at what other states are doing to see if we could get some good ideas that we could adopt here in Illinois, and we would also do a literature research to sort of see if there were any good ideas out there that have been proposed by scholars that haven't yet been adopted into law. And so that's where Siiri comes in.
Yeah, so I did research on 10 states, I think Hawaii through Maryland, and there were quite a few interesting laws that I found. One of them was that I think in the state of Maryland, you can, if you are a victim of human trafficking, you can get state tuition, and I also believe that the state pays for your schooling then, if I remember correctly. I also did some literature review or research, and I found that one of the things that is lacking in the system is that many victims are not treated as victims. So we're really hoping that you know, through education and training, the judges and the prosecutors and all the people who work with the victims understand that they should be treated as victims and not as, you know, criminals.
Yeah, so as Siiri said, she took 10 of the states. We actually had 5 students, so each student took 10 states and did the research into their human trafficking laws, and we found a wide variety of laws. So some states were quite progressive, others were you know, they had more work to be done. And one of the movements is definitely to adopt laws that treat victims of human trafficking as victims rather than as criminals. Some of the laws had to do with what happens after they have been identified as a victim and how their trafficker is prosecuted. So in some cases, you know, there were laws that said that the victim didn't necessarily have to testify in court and face their trafficker again. Some laws provided counseling for victims. There was a whole variety of laws.
Yes.
And then maybe you could talk for a minute about how we presented our research to the Human Trafficking Task Force here at SIU last September.
Yes, so, excuse me, the Human Trafficking Task Force came to SIU, and we basically presented them of the research that what we found, and also the things that we think that should be improved. So I think that's.
So we put the 50-state survey that we did into sort of a chart form,
yes,
right? Which listed each state and all the laws that that state had, and then separately we created a memo that talked about some of the academic literature that you and the other students had found. Yeah.
So Professor Buys, we have a question. What are some new ideas regarding human trafficking that has been proposed by scholars in the field?
So I think that a lot of those ideas do relate to this idea of treating victims as victims rather than as criminals, and finding more ways to find support services for them. And so it may not be so new as it may be an expansion on something that's already happening.
Siiri, what was your favorite part of working on this project?
I think my favorite part was that I think I learned more than I expected to learn. Like I didn't expect to find out that there are a lot of people here in the United States who are trafficked, not just you know, labor traffic and sex trafficking. And to me that was very sad. And so on a personal level now, like when I go to a grocery store and before I pick up this tomato, you know, I think about, was that tomato picked by somebody who was human trafficked here in the States, you know, to promise a good life, and then they're in the system and they can't get out.
Thank you, Siiri. So I know that the School of Law has a lot of pro bono activities and opportunities such as this. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Professor Bice?
Sure. Another program that we have here at the law school is the Immigration Detention Project. And so there is a detention facility here in Southern Illinois in Ullen that houses on average about 150 to 200 immigration detainees at any given time. And once a month I take a group of student volunteers down to the Immigration Detention Center, and we do a Know Your Rights presentation for the immigration detainees, just letting them know what their legal rights are and giving them some information about the immigration law system. And then the students that come with me do one-on-one intake interviews with the detainees that want to meet with us. And they will try to assess whether their legal needs are being met. And I think, Siiri, you've done that, haven't you?
I've done this once and I'm going again next month.
Very good. And it's a great way for our students, right from their first year of law school, to have some contact with someone who has a real legal problem and to hear their story and to understand how the law affects real people. And then we work with an organization out of Chicago, the National Immigrant Justice Center, that does a lot of the follow-up work. So we're not providing direct legal representation, but they are able to do that through their resources in many of those cases. So again, it's a great pro bono opportunity. We have a new Veterans Legal Assistance Program. So we have several students who will be working with one of our new faculty to provide legal services to veterans. We had done some of this years ago and we're reinvigorating that program, so we're really excited about that. And I don't know, perhaps you've done other pro bono things, or you have friends who have?
I have worked for Innocence Project. I think I've worked on like 3 or 4 different cases and I've learned a lot. And it's really rewarding to know that you're helping somebody who is probably, you know, put away when he's innocent.
So maybe you could explain just a little bit more about what Innocence Project is.
Innocence Project, yes. So it's a project for criminals, or I shouldn't say criminals. There are people who are looking to be helped when they are currently in state prison because they were charged with X, Y, and Z, and they are claiming that they're innocent. And there are quite a few cases that Innocence Project has helped where people were exonerated. So there's this one person, I think he came to visit us last September in law school. Mm-hmm. He was, the Show Me Campbell, he was put away for like 18 or 20 years. And then it turned out that he had not done the crime. So.
Thank you, Siiri. How do you think all this work has prepared you for your career after graduation?
I think it has helped me with my research skills and also knowing that there is more to law than just, you know, when you first come to law school, you know, you'll learn about properties and torts, but I think this has really helped me to you know, expand my understanding and my, you know, that there's more than just torts and property. You know, there are, you know, people who need help because they have been trafficked. You know, so.
Has this experience influenced what you want to do post law school?
I think it has. Yes.
Do you have any? What are your plans post law school?
Well, I would either like to work with people who have been trafficked, or something to do with immigration or international law. So something in that field.
Thank you so much, Siiri. I have a question for both of you. What would be one piece of advice or advice that you would give prospective students that are applying to law school?
Yeah, I would encourage students to come and visit us. One of the reasons I chose to teach here is that we are a little bit smaller law school, and that gives me the ability to work one-on-one with students like Siiri and the other students who did the human trafficking project. And I really get to know my students, and that's one of the things I love about being a professor. So I would encourage a prospective student to come meet us, talk to us, you know, see what we're all about. I think that will really help you make your decision that SIU could be a good place.
Yes, I agree with that. I didn't utilize that opportunity. I just came here, you know, after I was accepted. So, but I think it would really help you to understand what SIU is all about. I mean, we are a small law school, and I really, really enjoy that because I get to know my professors, and it makes me feel like a small community where I belong.
Okay, so I think that's all the time we have today. We hope that you will want to learn more about SIU Law School, and you'll visit our website at law.siu.edu. And I believe there'll be another podcast next Friday, so tune in again next week. Thank you. Bye.